Do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, okay. So we started the discussion of root finding methods. So in scientific and engineering studies, a problem of great importance is to solve to find a root or zero of a relation of the form f of x equals to 0. So this is the equation which is given to you, arbitrary equation, and you need to find out the values of x for which this equation will be satisfied. The values of x for which the equation is satisfied, they are called the zeros or the roots of the equation. So if the roots are real, then geometrically it means that the graph will cut x-axis. So if this is x-axis, this is y-axis, then the graph will cut x-axis. Sorry. So if alpha is a root and alpha is a real number, then the graph y equals to f of x will cut x-axis at x equals to alpha. If this is y equals to f of x. And in case of complex roots, they do not have any physical significance, but for those values of complex number, the equation will be satisfied. So whenever you want to determine something which is appearing implicitly in any scientific or engineering formula, that will lead to root finding problems. So we know how to solve certain equation. For example, if the equation is quadratic, do you know how to solve it? If the equation is quadratic polynomial equation, ax square plus bx plus c, you know how to solve it. Again, if the equation is cubic, ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d equals to 0, this is cubic, this is quadratic. Then also you have certain methods to solve, to find all the roots of this cubic equation. One of the method is Cardon's method. I'm not going to details. I'm not going in details about these methods. Those are not necessary. Cardon's method. And for biquadratic equation, so polynomial equation of degree 4, so the equation is of this form: a x power 4 bx cube cx square dx. So you can solve this equation by using this method, Ferrari's method. So methods are there to solve certain kind of polynomial equation. So first, the equations, the root finding equations are divided into two categories. One is, so root find equations, one is algebraic equation and another is transcendental equation. And the other one is transcendental equation. So algebraic equation, polynomial equations are called algebraic equation. So if only polynomial is involved in that equation, then that equation is called algebraic equation. So here I will write down polynomial equations. Polynomials equation. So they are called algebraic equation, and whenever any other kind of term, for example, trigonometric term or exponential term or logarithmic term, if these terms are involved in the given equation, then that equation is called transcendental equation. So if exponential, logarithmic, so trigonometric functions, sine, cos, tan, trigonometric functions are involved. Then, okay. So you see, if the equation is algebraic equation and degree is maximum degree is 4, then you can solve the root. You can find the roots by direct method. Direct method means you are able to find out the root after finite number of algebraic manipulations, algebraic operations. Algebraic operations are addition, multiplication, division, subtraction. So using only these 4 kind of operations, you will be able to find out the roots. And they will be finite in number, the operations. So if the degree of the equation is at most 4, then you are able to find out all the roots using direct method. But if the degree of the equation is more than 4, if I give you a 5th degree polynomial equation, then there is no general method which will help you to find out all the roots. In all mathematical history, there is no general method to solve any 5th order polynomial equation or any 6th order polynomial equation or any higher order polynomial equation. So you see the limitation of direct method. Also, if the equation is a transcendental equation, then also there is no general method to find out the roots of an equation. So for example, if I give you this equation, cos x minus x e power x, then there is no general method. There is no method to solve this equation directly. What you have to do, you have to use some approximation method or numerical method. You will start with some initial guess and somehow you will improve that guess each and every time in each iteration until you get the solution with desired accuracy. So you see the need of these root finding methods. If the degree of the polynomial equation is more than 4 or the equation is transcendental equation, then you are very limited. You do not have any direct method to find out the roots. So you must have to employ some numerical methods. Okay. So here in this chapter, we are going to study some root finding method. There will be bisection method. Bisection, let me write down their names. Bisection methods. Then regular falsi method. Then we'll study second method. Then we'll study Newton-Raphson method. Newton-Raphson method. Then simple general iteration method. Are you able to read my handwriting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
Yes,
it's
sir.
fine.
Yes,
Then
sir.
we'll study some methods which will help you to find out even the complex roots. So one of the method will be Muller's method, M-U-L-L-E-R-S, Muller's method. So that using that method, you can even find out the complex roots. Okay, and few more if time permits. So these are the methods we are going to learn to find out roots of an equation. Okay. Now, can you tell me if the equation, suppose if the equation is polynomial equation or algebraic equation and the degree of the equation is n, how many roots the equation has?
Maximum, minimum, sir, it's n, I think.
Exactly n. Why maximum minimum?
Yes, sir,
Exactly.
exactly. And roots.
Exactly. N.
Exactly n roots. If the degree of the polynomial equation or algebraic equation is n, something let me write. Let us start with an minus 1 up to a naught equals to 0. So if this is the form of the equation, it has exactly n roots. Some roots may be repeated. So the repeated roots are called roots with multiplicity. So some of the roots may be repeated, their multiplicity may be more than 1. For example, if the equation is x square plus 2x plus 1 equals to 0. So roots, this is a polynomial equation, it has exactly 2 roots. But the roots are what? Repeated. The roots are -1 and -1. So do you know when the equation, so what is the definition of repeated root? When a root is said to be of multiplicity m, or first you tell me when a root is said to be a root of multiplicity 2, what is the criteria for that? Mathematical criteria? दो बार रिपीट होंगे, कैसे फंक्शन से चेक करेंगे? If the equation is the function, you just consider the left hand side expression,
Sir,
that
sir, fx1 is equal to fx2 for x1 is equal to x2. Then it will be multiplicity of 2.
Not exactly true. Let me write down briefly. So roots are simple roots. Simple roots if it is of multiplicity 1, okay, or repeated roots. Simple root. सिंपल रूट में क्या होंगे? मतलब एक ही बार
ऐसे कर सकते हैं सर. हेलो सर.
हाँ टेल मी.
सर अगर fx नॉट सर, ये सर अगर f of x नॉट 0 होगा तो उसी पॉइंट पे उसका डबल डेरिवेटिव भी 0 होगा, मतलब तभी वो टच करके जाएगा fx को.
दो बार है तो हाँ डेरिवेटिव भी 0 होगा, लेकिन तीसरा 0 नहीं होगा. तीसरा डेरिवेटिव उसी पॉइंट पे 0 नहीं होगा, तब जाके एग्जैक्टली दो बार रिपीट होंगे. ओके, सो f of x equals to 0, this is the equation, and suppose x equals to alpha is simple root. Simple root means it is not repeated, it is occurring only once. Okay, simple root. That means what? F of x can be written as x minus alpha into some expression, some polynomial of lower degree. Yes or no? Anyway, I do not need polynomial. So f of x equals to 0, that is the given equation, and you are saying that x minus x equals to alpha is a simple root. That means x minus alpha, that factor will be occurring only once in the expression f of x. Yes or no?
Sir. Yes,
so it can be written as x minus alpha into g of x, where g of alpha should not be 0. If x equals to alpha is a simple root, g of alpha should not be 0. So you can easily see x equals to alpha is satisfying the equation. What about f dash x? It will be x minus alpha into g dash alpha plus, sorry, g dash alpha नहीं होंगे, g dash x. Okay, g dash x plus g of x. दूसरी बार x minus alpha को differentiate करेंगे, then g of x will be remain as constant. So this is f dash x, and what is f dash alpha? What is f dash alpha? G of alpha, and which is not equals to 0. Here I have mentioned that. So that tells you that x equals to alpha is a simple root. So the mathematical criteria for a root to be simple is f of alpha will be 0, but f dash alpha should not be 0. So this is the mathematical criteria for a root to be simple root. Similarly, mathematical criteria for a root to be multiple root of multiplicity alpha, multiplicity m will be, so let me multiple root with multiplicity m, root with multiplicity m. So a root will be repeated m times. What will be the mathematical criteria? F of, so this is the equation, f of x equals to 0, x equals to alpha is repeated m times, a repeated root. So it is repeated m times, then the mathematical criteria will be f of alpha equals to 0, so is f dash alpha, so is f double dash alpha, so is up to m minus 1 time derivative, m minus 1 alpha, but m time derivative should not be 0. So this is the mathematical criteria. If this condition is satisfied at a root, then we will say, not say, then the root is repeated m times. You can prove it. If it is a root, repeated root, m times repeated, then f of x will be written as x minus alpha power m into some g of x, where g of alpha will not be 0. Then you use differentiation and then you will be able to identify. Okay, so this is not difficult. If it is repeated, then x minus alpha power m will be the factor into some expression, and that expression at alpha should not vanish. Use that, and then you keep on differentiating and taking the value of the function at x equals to alpha. So we'll learn the method how to find out simple root, how to find out multiple root. The method which are going to study, they will be used to find both the simple and multiple roots. So first method is bisection method. We are going to describe in details now. Any doubts so far? Anything you want to ask?
No, sir.
हेलो सर.
Okay.
सर इसमें x इज इक्वल टू अल्फा m टाइम्स रिपीटेड था, तो सर आपने लिखा है कि f डैश m टाइम्स अल्फा वो नॉट इक्वल टू 0 होना चाहिए.
नहीं होना चाहिए
सर.
नहीं होना चाहिए
सर बट अगर हम लोग मान लीजिए सर एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं सर क्वाड्रेटिक का, जो कि जिसमें मान लीजिए सर x इज इक्वल टू 1 उसके रिपीटेड रूट्स हैं, तो सर वो तो
इक्वेशन विल बी x स्क्वायर माइनस
2x हो जाएगी.
1. देखो x this is the equation x square minus 2x plus 1 equals to 0. Okay, so x, the roots are 1 and 1. Okay, what is f of x here? What is f of x here?
f of x
x square,
f of x हमारा x square minus 2x plus 1. Yes sir.
What is f dash x?
So 2x minus
2. What is f double dash x? 2.
Yes sir. ठीक है सर.
तो क्या दे रहे हैं? f dash f of x, f of 1 equals to 0. Okay.
Yes sir. Yes sir.
f dash 1 equals to 0. f double dash 1 पे 0 हो रहा है क्या?
No sir. ठीक है सर, ठीक है.
So if the root is repeated m times, then up to m minus 1th time derivative at x equals to alpha will be 0, but m time derivative at x equals to alpha should not be 0. This is the mathematical criteria to check the multiplicity of the root. Okay. Is it clear to you?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
So the bisection method, that name itself tells you what to do. You will have to bisect the interval. So bisection method is nothing but the repeated application of intermediate value property theorem. Do you recall intermediate value property theorem? Let me write down. Intermediate value property theorem. Intermediate value theorem. What is that? It says that if f is continuous on a certain interval a comma b, f is a continuous function on the interval a comma b, and let's say c is any number which lies between f of a, which number lies in f of any number between f of a and f of b, then that value c can be obtained for certain values eta in the interval open interval a comma b. Then there exists let's say eta belongs to open interval a comma b such that f of eta will be equals to c. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? So let me draw the picture so that you can understand easily. So this is 2 dimension, this is x axis, this is y axis, this is the interval a, this is the interval b. It is not like both a and b has to be positive. I could have taken the interval a here also, no harm is there. So this is the interval a comma b. So you draw is consider a certain function. So here I am considering this function, this particular function between the interval a comma b. So this is f of b, this is f of a. So what is this height? What is this height? Can you tell me what is this height?
f of a, sir.
That will be f of a. Okay, fine. Just a moment. That is f of a. And what about this height?
F of b.
F of b. So the statement is saying if f is continuous function on the open interval a comma b, that means you will be able to draw the curve without lifting your pen from the paper. Okay. So if that is happening in the closed interval a comma b, and c is any number between f of a and f of b. So let us take arbitrary point c here, arbitrary point c. So that height can be obtained for certain values x. There will be some x in the open interval a comma b for which you will be able to attain that height. So if this is the height, see, so this is the point on the curve, yes or no? This is the point on the curve for which you are getting the height c. So that point is corresponding to which x values? This x values. So I am calling it eta. So does it make sense? If f is continuous function on the open interval closed interval a comma b, and c is any number between f of a and f of b, then there exists at least one eta belongs to the open interval a comma b such that f of eta equals to c. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now what will happen if f of a and f of b are of opposite sign? Consider the note. If f of a and f of b are opposite sign, what is happening then? If f of a into f of b, their product is less than 0. So this is another way to say that f of a and f of b are of opposite sign. If their product is less than 0, that is another way to say that f of a and f of b are of opposite sign. So what will happen then? Can we say the function has a root?
Yes, sir.
Then there exists alpha belongs to open interval a comma b such that this should be open interval. Open interval a comma b such that f of alpha equals to 0. Does it make sense?
It makes sense.
Yes. If they are of opposite sign, then what is the plot of the graph? Plot of the graph means what? This is one side will be positive. Suppose f of a is positive, so this is f of a height, and another will be negative. So suppose f of b is negative, and f is a continuous function. So graph has to be drawn between f of a and f of b. So whatever way you draw the graph, it will must intersect. It will must intersect x-axis. So whenever it is intersecting x-axis, that is a root. So this is simple observation. Okay, so we will be using this property of continuous function. Remember, those methods which we are learning, they are basically for continuous functions. Okay, the method which we are going to learn, they are only for continuous functions. Okay, so how bisection method works then? So the method. So choose two initial guess which will contain a root. Okay, so choose A and B or x0, x1. Choose. So it is up to you how you will choose these 2 points, x0 and x1. So choose x0, x1 such that f of x0 into f of x1 less than 0, so that you can be sure that there is a root between the point x0 and x1. So that is why you are checking this condition, f of x0 into f of x1, that is less than 0 or not. Okay, so once you choose, so you have obtained an initial interval which contains the root, yes or no? Once that happens, you have obtained an initial interval which contains the root. Okay, so this is the x-axis, and this is the point A, or let me write down, this is the point x0, and this is the point x1. So you have chosen 2 points x0 and x1 for which this criteria is satisfied, f of x0 into f of x1 less than 0. Next, what? So in step 1 or iteration 1, what you will do? You will bisect, you will consider the middle point of the interval. So you choose x2, which is nothing but the middle point of the interval x0, x1. So that is x0 plus x1 by 2. And then you check the sign. Check sign of f of x2. Okay. So if f of x0 into f of x2, their product is less than 0, then in which subinterval the root will be lying? x0, x2 or x2, x1? If f of
X0.
x0, x2, then root is lying, root lies in the interval x0, x2. And what if f of x1 into f of x2, that is less than 0? Then root lies, actually you do not have to check. If the root is not lying in this interval, then the root will lie in the other interval. So you do not have to check the next condition, but I am writing for understanding purpose. So if f of x1 dot f of x2, that is less than 0, then root lies in x2, x1, that interval. Okay. Once you determine in which subinterval the root is lying, what will do in iteration 2?
So we take x3 is equal to x0 plus x2 by 2.
Not exactly. So suppose this one is true. Suppose this one is true. Suppose this is true. Then one of them will be true. Whichever is true, then you will take the middle point of that interval. Okay. Suppose this is true. Then x2, x3 will be middle point of x0 and x2. So x0 plus x2 by 2. So here it will be x3. Now you will check again the f of x0 into f of x3, their sign. So if that is less than 0, then the root will lie between x0 and x3. Otherwise, the root will be lying in x3 to x2. Okay? And you will keep on doing it until you get the solution with desired accuracy. Now, what is desired accuracy? I will be explaining that in very few moments. So this is the method how you use bisection method to find out roots. So this method is always convergent because you are never leaving the interval which contains the root. The root is always, whatever interval you are considering, that interval always contains the root. So as you consider more and more iteration, the interval is getting smaller and smaller. So this method is always convergent. That is the advantage of this method. And what is the disadvantage? This method is very slow. Sometimes it may be very painful to repeat the procedure if you want the root with very desired accuracy. If you want the root to be very much accurate, suppose accurate up to 10th decimal places, then this method will be very cumbersome way to apply. And sometimes you need that much accurate answer. Whenever this Mangalyaan was saying, so if you want to predict the correct trajectory, your calculation has to be very much accurate. Otherwise, your mission will not be successful. So whenever your answer demands, your method demands very much accurate answer, then this will be very cumbersome way to find the root. Anyway, so we will calculate few more things. So f of x0 into f of x3 you have to check, and also you have to check f of x0, not f of x0, f of x2 into f of x3 and their sign. So let us solve one example and then I'll be telling you a few more things. Okay, so in this theory class I'll be taking simple example, and in tutorial you'll have to solve some advanced problems. Okay, so this theory class is basically for understanding the concept. So here I'll give you a cubic equation, x cube minus 2x minus 5 equals to 0. So find a root of this equation in the interval 2 to 3. Find a root in 2 to 3. So first you check what is the value of f of 2. What is f of 2?
So -1.
Minus 1. What is f of 3?
It's 16.
16. So here f of 2 into f of 3, their product is less than 0. In other words, they are of opposite sign. So there exists a root. There indeed exists a root between the point 2 and 3. So you call it, let x0 equals to 2, x1 equals to 3. So what will be x2 then? Iteration 1. What is x2? 2 plus 3 by 2, that is 2.5. Okay, what is the sign of f of x2? Okay, just tell me f of x2 and then in the upcoming iteration I will be telling you the values. Tell me what is f of x2?
So it is positive.
It is positive. It is 5.6250. So now tell me in which subinterval the root will be lying. So the original interval is 2 to 3. This is 2. Here is 3. Here it is 2.5. So in which subinterval the root is lying? 2 to 2.5 or 2.5 to 3?
Yes, sir. 2 to 2.5.
2 to 2.
2 to 2.5.
Okay. Here f of x naught into f of x2, their product is less than 0. So root lies in the interval 2 to 2.5. So iteration 2. What will be x3? x3 will be middle point of x0 plus x2 by 2, which is basically 2 plus 2.5 by 2, that will give you 2.25. And what is f of x3 value? Even if you are able to identify the sign, that also will work, but without the calculation, how you will determine the sign? Because the value is not used in the method at all, only the sign is used. So it is 1.8906. So now tell me in which subinterval the root is lying. So it is 2.25. 2.25. In which subinterval the root is lying?
Sir, 2 to 2.25.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So root lies in x0 to x3. Okay. So iteration 3. Okay. And so on. You got the idea. So this is how you will be doing. So now how to stop? So this is the mathematical procedure. You can write down an algorithm, then the code to solve this, to use this bisection method. Now when to stop? Because whenever you are using hand calculation or computer, you will have to stop at some point. So how to determine that stopping criteria? So let me write down the stopping criteria. Stopping criteria of an algorithm. And stopping criteria. So first one, you can think that as soon as the functional value at nth iteration, is very small, less than certain predetermined number, suppose epsilon equals to 0.0001. So as soon as the functional value at nth iteration is less than epsilon, where epsilon is very predetermined, very small number, you will determine what will be the value, then you can stop. Okay, that can be one of the stopping criteria. Is it okay? Does this make sense? The stopping criteria. What does mean by functional value? That is the height of the function. Yes or no? So if the height of the function is very small at for certain values of xn, then we can think that that is a root. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I'll discuss in details what is the drawback of that. Second one, you can think as the difference between two consecutive iteration value. See, xn minus 1. If that is less than epsilon, then also you can stop where epsilon will be some predetermined small quantity, or you can think about the relative error. xn minus 1 by xn, same thing. If that is less than epsilon, you can stop. Third one, you will predetermine that it does not matter how the iteration behaves. I am going to use only 1000 iteration. After 1000 iteration, whatever answer I will be getting, that will be the root. That also you can do. So predetermine the number of iteration. Predetermined the number of iteration. So these methods will work for all the methods which we are going to study, and the last one which I am going to write, that will be working only for this particular iteration method, this bisection method. So first you tell me in each iteration what we are doing, if in first iteration the length of the interval is L, what is the length of the interval in next iteration which contains the root?
Sir, L
Half,
by
sir.
2.
L by 2. And what is the length of the interval in next iteration?
Sir, L by
L by
4.
L by 4. So in each iteration you are considering the half of the original interval. So if you consider n number of iteration, what will be the length of the interval which will contain the root?
Sir, L over 2 to the power n.
L over 2 to the power n. So if the original interval is b, a comma b, then what will be the length of the interval after n iteration? B minus a by 2 power
2
n.
to power n.
Okay, so that also can be considered. So you assume that, so in that interval, so after nth iteration, you will get something like this. Some point will be p and some point q will be there, and in that interval the root will be lying, is not it? In that interval the root will be lying. And what will be the length of this interval? Maximum length. This length will be less than equals to b minus a. If b a comma b is the original interval, then b minus a by 2 power n. So in this interval the root will be lying, alpha will be lying in this interval. Okay, so and also the approximate value also will be lying in this interval which is given by xn. So xn minus alpha, their distance will be less than the original root that also lies in the interval p comma q. The approximate root xn that also lies in the interval p comma q. So what will be the bound for this xn minus alpha? Will that also be less than b minus a by 2 power n?
Yes, sir.
The at nth iteration the interval which you are getting, I am representing that by p and p comma q. Now that interval contains the original root, the exact root alpha, as well as the approximate root xn. So what will be the difference between xn minus alpha, this quantity that will be bounded by the length of the interval? And what is the length of the interval? B minus a by 2 power n. So xn minus alpha will be less than equals to b minus a by 2 power n. So that is the error. This xn minus alpha, that is the error in nth iteration. Xn is the approximate value, alpha is the exact root. So xn minus alpha is the error in nth iteration. So that error is bounded by b minus a by 2 power n. So if you consider that error has to be less than certain quantity which is given by this epsilon. So if you predetermine epsilon suppose is 0.0001, then you can determine how many iteration you need so that your answer will be very accurate. Your the difference between your answer and the exact solution will be less than this epsilon. Okay, so the last stopping criteria is the length of the interval is less than the error tolerance epsilon. Less than equals to sign here also you can use, that doesn't matter. Okay, so the last one is only for bisection method. In other method you do not know the length of the subinterval. Okay, so if a tolerance is given, from the last relation you can determine, even starting the calculation, even before starting the calculation you can determine how many iteration you need to continue so that the difference between the obtained solution and exact solution will be less than this tolerance epsilon. This epsilon is known as tolerance. So can you tell me, if epsilon is known to you, b is known to you, a is known to you, what will be the number of iteration? What is the smallest value of the number of iteration n? Tell me from this relation, last relation. From here do some calculation and tell me the number of iteration. N will be greater than equals to some expression. Tell me that. Take logarithm both side and do some manipulation.
Sir, log b minus a by epsilon to the base 2.
Okay. So log of b minus a minus log of epsilon, आपने कहा था log of b minus a by epsilon, मैंने उसको अलग कर दिए माइनस लेके, नीचे होंगे log of 2. Okay. So this value we have to evaluate the right hand side expression, and whatever integer you are getting which will be smallest and will be greater than this expression, that will be the number of iteration. So even before starting the calculation using bisection method, you will be able to tell how many iteration you need to obtain the answer with desired accuracy. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now let
Yes,
us
sir.
consider the drawback of first criteria, first dropping criteria, f of xn less than epsilon. So suppose the curve is something like this. Okay, so this is the curve. Here at this point the function is very close to 0 but not touching x-axis. Okay, so this is the curve y equals to f of x, and you consider this point xn. So what is f of xn value? Very close to 0? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This side is the y-axis, this side is the x-axis. So f of xn is very close to 0, but is xn a root?
No, sir.
No, it is not touching x-axis. It is coming very close to x-axis, and then again its value is increasing, and then after certain time it is crossing the x-axis. So xn is not a root, even though its functional value is very close to 0. So that is why this first condition is very vague. It is not desired. You should not use this condition. Sometime it will be working, sometime it will not be working. So either use the second one or the third one, and fourth one is only working for this bisection method. So first one sometime may be very difficult to apply. So this is very not recommended to use. Not recommended. Sometimes that will be working if this kind of situation is not there. Okay. Is the time over, or do we have time? Can I discuss one more method? Will time permit? Or shall I stop today? If I start, I will not be able to finish. Okay, then I'll be stopping here. If you have any
Yes.
doubt, you can ask me. And if no doubt is there, then you may leave if you wish.
Sir, please upload these notes.
I will be uploading this note when this particular unit is over. And let me upload the document which I'll be following, because you can prepare before the class if you wish. So I prepared this following. Let me show you. Are you able to see my?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is AC. Old file. Class notes are there somewhere. Root finding method. So this is the method. This PDF I prepared last time. I'll be sharing it with you. Okay. So after the class, I'll upload the PDF. You see all those calculations are mentioned here, which I said. So you prepare before that class, you go through the document, and then you can do the calculation. Anyway, so I'll be following the calculation from this PDF. So you do not look at the PDF and tell me the answer. Okay, you try to do it. So that is why I do not want to share the note before completing the unit. Anyway, so and these class notes also will be shared but first I have to complete the unit so that whole unit can be compiled in a single PDF.
हेलो सर।
Anything else? हाँ हेलो।
सर उसमें जो आपने सर इसका ड्रॉबैक बताया कि जब ग्राफ बहुत क्लोज होगा एक्सिस से तो फिर सर उसमें तो सर एफ ऑफ 0 और एफ ऑफ 1 का प्रोडक्ट तो सर पॉजिटिव आ रहा होगा ना सर हमेशा, तो मतलब वो तो उसमें तो अप्लाई ही नहीं कर सकते तो।
अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते? नहीं नहीं, देखिए चलिए मैं आपको सिचुएशन बता रहा हूँ, फिर रुकिए।
सर अगर मैं
नहीं चलिए समझ गया, मैं आपको सिचुएशन बता रहा हूँ, आप रुकिए, ठीक है। सो दिस इज द कर्व, ओके, दिस इज द कर्व, इज इट ओके? Is it okay? This is the curve y equals to f of x.
yes sir.
So you take this as x naught and this as x1. So what is f of x naught value? Positive?
Yes
what
sir,
is f of
positive.
x1 value?
Sir negative.
So f of x naught into f of x1 is less than 0. Okay. So in
Yes,
bisexual
sir.
method, what will do in next iteration?
सर इसका x naught plus x1 by
मिडिल
2
पॉइंट लेंगे
करेंगे
ना,
और सर
x2 will be
Yes, sir.
x naught plus x1 by 2. मिडिल पॉइंट इस ग्राफ में कहां पे है बताओ? Here around, is it okay?
yes sir, yes sir.
So what is f of x2 value?
सर f of
Positive,
x2
sir.
पॉजिटिव है सर।
पॉजिटिव होने से क्या होगा? वेरी क्लोज टू जीरो ना।
yes sir, yes sir.
f of x2 value will be what?
सर क्लोज टू, अच्छा सर फिर वो मतलब f of x2 into f of x1 वो और
और
0
देखेंगे
आ रहा
क्यों?
होगा ऐसा।
और देखेंगे क्यों? आप तो देखेंगे नहीं ना, आप तो स्टॉप कर रहे हैं कि अगर किसी n के लिए फंक्शन की वैल्यू अगर वेरी क्लोज टू जीरो होते हैं तो आप स्टॉप कर जाएंगे। सो f of x2 is what? Very close to zero. This is x2 na. So you'll be thinking okay,
Yes,
x2
yes,
is the root, but
yes,
not at
yes,
all.
ठीक
You
है
see
सर,
graph
समझ
is crossing here. It is the root alpha.
सर
Did you
फाइन
get
सर,
my
गॉट
point?
इट। यस सर।
Okay. एंड आप जब भी साइन चेक करेंगे फंक्शन की वैल्यू तो एग्जैक्टली जीरो कभी नहीं होंगे, फंक्शन की वैल्यू क्लोज टू जीरो ही होंगे, लेकिन उस पे आप स्टॉप नहीं कर रहे हैं, दूसरे कंडीशन पे आप स्टॉप कर रहे हैं। फंक्शन की वैल्यू तो जीरो होंगे नहीं, अगर जीरो हो गया तो रूट फाइंड करने की मतलब ही क्या है? हाँ, some cases it will be zero, in most of the time the value of the function and the root each you have obtained, at that point the value of the function will not be exactly zero, it will be close to zero, it will be some positive value or some negative value. So it does not matter what you are saying, what will happen if it is positive, what will happen if it is negative, it will always be like that most of the time, but it will be very close to zero. Okay.
Yes sir,
Okay,
yes.
sir.
Okay, you may leave and you may join the next class. Thank you for your
Thank you, sir.
cooperation.
Thank you, sir.